Hello everybody and welcome back to Adulting with Bricks. This week's episode is brought to us by the letter L for Lego and the letter S. And no, that is not for Sesame Street, Slimy, or Snuffleupagus. But we will find out where the letter S plays in just a few minutes. So this week's build was the Sesame Street set, which was an idea set from 2020. It was originally retailed for about $99. It retired in 2023 and the set has appreciated. And I did pick this up at Bricks and Minifigs, and as you can see, the list price on it was $200 there. So it has appreciated, almost doubled in value. I did pick this up, did not pay the $200. We did trade in a bunch of sets a couple of weekends ago to get that, so we got it down about $150 worth of sets. Now that was trading probably about 10 sets for that, so not a lot of trade-in value. Those sets were not large in scale or anything that was super popular. The biggest set was a friend set. That was the apartment. In fact, if you're interested in it, it is at the Bricks and Minifigs in Chattanooga right now. There were a couple of the X-Wing X-Jets and a few of the 3-in-1 space sets from last year that went towards this set in particular. And I think one of the gift with purchases, one of the Jane Austen gift with purchases from several months ago from Lego that we got when buying the minifig dispenser from last week. So just to give you an idea of some ways that you can use sets that you get. That's why I always talk about clearance sets and picking those up. Maybe if you see them at like Target or Walmart or somewhere and they're really cheap, go ahead and get them. If you don't want to build them, hold on to them, because they do make good trade-ins for like a Bricks and Minifig and somewhere to help with your budget on buying your Legos. But like I said, we did build this set, and this set does have a total of 6 minifig characters, and they included Elmo, Oscar, Bert and Ernie, and Cookie Monster, and Big Bird. Growing up, I was a huge Bert and Ernie fan and Cookie Monster. I am a little disappointed in the Elmo being in the set, but that's just because Elmo was not part of Sesame Street when I grew up. Says Elmo came along, I think I may have even been in high school before Elmo ever came out in Sesame Street. So I wish they had not done Elmo and had done like the Count or Snuffleupagus or one of those characters, or Grover more than Elmo. But again, that's just a preference. I do understand why they did include him, because if you're this was a set that should have appealed to a lot of people, and of course a younger set of people would be more into Elmo, because I do know Elmo was more the flagship character for a lot of the 90s and the 2000s, and I think more recently it's even becoming a different Muppet monster named Abby, who wears wings and has a wand, and there's a reference to her in this set as well. She's just not a minifig. And this is one thing I wish Lego would do, is I wish they would continue maybe this line as part of a CMF set somewhere. It would have been nice if they did it with the Muppet set a few years ago, but that came out around the same time. But I really wish that they had kept up and done maybe a Grover and a Count and even an Abby for those who this would have appealed to. But as we move on to look at the set, as you come into it, you see that you have Mr. Hooper's store, and on top of Mr. Hooper's store is Cookie Monster's apartment. And I love the details here because they do have little VHS tapes that are printed. And that is very reminiscent into the era that Sesame Street really began with and fed into when it was in its prime, was around the 80s and 90s when we were still in the VHS era. And that does fit very well with probably Cookie Monster and his level. There's a lot of detail. The store had a lot of little bills of things you would have seen in Mr. Hooper's store, like lemonade and little snacks and those sorts of things added into the store, which you can see. And there was a little restaurant on the outside They also have a newsstand, which is very iconic of Maria and Mr. Hooper and all of the and David standing outside the store. And then we get to 123 Sesame Street. And the first thing you see is Oscar's trash can outside, which is where Oscar lives. And of course, his friend Slimy, his worm. And in there you see another little box of trash that has the tire and the pizza box. Again, very iconic of the scene where Oscar is at and he is in his trash can. You see these pieces of trash all around him, and he talks about the tire and the pizza box from time to time within Sesame Street. Then as you go around to the other side outside, you have Big Bird's nest with a picture of Snuffleupagus. Again, I really wish that they had done a Snuffleupagus, since he was very much Big Bird's best friend in the show. But it's very cool. He does have his bear in the nest, which is a very iconic move of anybody that's a child and has that favorite stuffy that they have. That was it. And then as you turn the set around, you now are going to see actual 123 Sesame Street from the inside. And on the lower level, we have Elmo's room or apartment with a train set and his stuffed bunny, and a little dresser that actually has drawers that come in and out, and a goldfish and a rocket on it. And so, of course, this is Elmo's bedroom. And then as you move up, then you have Bert and Ernie's, which is, for me, just super Sesame Street, because it has Ernie's bathtub Rosie and his rubber ducky. And I remember that there was even a song around rubber ducky and the bathtub and the ring around Rosie, and he talks about that. And then as you progress through, you have their bedroom, and you see Bert's bottle cap collection on the wall, and his paper clip collection is on the bed. And so these are very iconic things to Bert and Ernie. And then as you continue up, of course, is the roof. And the roof has some very funny Easter eggs on it, because there's even an alien saucer looking piece on the top of it. And that is just so funny, because I'm not even sure where that comes from. But hey, there's an alien saucer on top of Sesame Street, so why not? The thing I will say, there were a lot of stickers. And I didn't really understand that, because there were also a lot of printed pieces. And you know my feelings, if you can print one piece, you can print them all. Because you're never going to need a little half moon piece that says 123 on it, or a little flat sign that is a 4x1 that says Sesame Street. So why you can print certain pieces, Lego, that are never going to be used again, but you can't print all of them, I still don't know. And they printed a lot of little 1x1 tiles that really were there, but they did print the outside of some milk cartons and some lemonade, which I know that's ubiquitous through several sets, not just Sesame Street, but Friends and a few others. So I do understand why they did that, but these are definitely, again, things that after seeing some of these brick sets that are at a lower price point that are really similar quality to Lego, I think this is where right now Lego is struggling a little bit, is on the stickers. I understand why they do it. It's supposed to be more cost effective. But if you've watched some other groups, they're also talking about how in the newer sets, they can't even match the sticker colors to the brick they're trying to put it on. And that wasn't a problem in this set really, but it is a problem I have seen in newer sets. And one of those things that I just really do kind of struggle with sometimes. But again, this is a very cute set, and it is going to have a very prominent place in the collection because, again, like I said, this is a set that is very iconic to my childhood. While this, of course, didn't exist when I had Lego in my childhood, this is one of those sets. But now we get back to why this episode is also brought to you by the letter S. So if you saw my short this week, you saw that there was a spider and a spider web, and I talked about how I don't do spiders and spider webs at all. Like any spiders, let me just say, we killed one the other day in the garage, and Jared was like, just walk away, just keep walking, because I will scream and make pitch a fit. But when you look at this set in the basement through the little window that's over by Oscar, you can see where they hid the spider in the basement, and you can see it. Now, I will say, when I built the set, We didn't need any Toy Story moments, so before I went to bed that night, I had to finish building to the point where the entire bottom basement was enclosed and there were no cracks and no way that this spider could possibly come alive and get out of this build. Again, totally rational, but you know, who's to say that the toys don't really do come alive at night? I haven't seen that to be able to prove it one way or the other, so I don't think anybody has. But that was the build this week. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you next week.